sis, are you ready to unlock your God-given potential and step into your destiny? The Position for Purpose podcast is for believers like you who are ready to shift your mindset, fight fear, and step into your divine purpose. Welcome to the Purpose Squad, where we encourage our destiny definers to take hold of God's vision for their life. So through this, I hope you're encouraged and you're ready. So grab a pen and paper and let's get started. Good morning, my destiny definers, and welcome back to the Position for Purpose podcast. I know it's been a little minute since we've chatted, but I'm excited to be back talking to you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about your promise is on the way. Actually, I'm really excited because since I've been gone for this month, my life has changed tremendously. I think the last time we all spoke, it was regarding, just purpose and, birthing purpose. And I really feel like I'm now reflecting the assignment that God has called on my life. So for those of you who don't keep up with me on YouTube or Instagram, I'm excited to tell you guys that I'm officially a full-time entrepreneur. I have quit my 9-to-5 job, which you guys have been listening for the podcast for a minute know that has been my ultimate goal. And I'm so excited because God is just blessing me in so many ways. Everything that He has promised is coming to life. And I'm just remembering being grateful and finding peace and joy in the moment. Because I think a lot of times when we do experience the promise, sometimes where, I'm very ambitious, so I'm always looking for the next move, but I'm having to understand that this is where God wants me to be, enjoying in it, basking in it, because when I look around, I'm so grateful. I'm just like, wow, this is everything I prayed for and could have imagined and more. So as an inspiration of what I've been experiencing, I wanted to title this episode, Your Promise is on the Way. I want to share with you guys things that I've learned from the season I've recently come out of. So previously, before I quit my job, I was in a space of I've worked a 9-to-5 for years. I've had businesses for years, but God wasn't really ready for me to step out into the full-time entrepreneurship realm. For you guys who know about my California story, that was my chance at being an entrepreneur, and it didn't go the way as planned. So when I finally pivoted into my purpose and allowed God to take the lead, since I came back to Charlotte in 2017, it has been an endless journey of ups and downs and challenges, just walking by faith and not by sight. I worked a couple jobs. There's nothing wrong with 9-to-5s, but for me, that is not where I saw myself. I felt like my creativity was contained. I felt like, I couldn't fully walk in my purpose. I was always, going back and forth and struggling with balancing my business and the assignments that God has given me and working my 9-to-5 because it was so draining. And to finally, see God bring everything to fruition and to life that He's promised me is almost like, wow, this is so amazing. Like, look what obedience does. Look what just staying the course does, because if you're in a predicament where you feel stuck, you feel uncertain, I want to tell you that keep going. I promise you, when you get to the end, when you get to the other side, you will be so grateful and so thankful that you did what God was calling you to do. You stuck through the challenges and you've prospered and you've grown stronger into the person that you need to be. So, of course, with this episode, I'm going to be give you guys the devotional. The devotional for today is coming from Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 11 through 13. So I'll give you guys some time, of course. Pull up your Bible apps, your Bibles, or feel free to listen along. All right, guys. So Jeremiah 29, verses 11 through 13. This is my ultimate favorite verse. Is, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. In those days when you pray, I will listen. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me." And the devotional says, God has a plan for all of us, but we have to stay steadfast on the journey. When your reality doesn't look like what you've been praying for, you have to keep going. Keep pushing and keep fighting for what's yours. Although the journey may be challenging, God has more for you at the end of the tunnel. Your promise is on the way. I know what it feels like, y'all, to feel like, well, that's the end of the devotional. But I just want to say, I feel like I know what it feels like to feel confused, to feel stuck, to feel lost, to feel like, I'm doing what you asked me to do. Where is the promise, God? The reality doesn't look like it's what's supposed to look like or what I thought it would look like. This is so hard. You feel like giving up, but I'm here to tell you to keep pushing. So I wanted to give you guys 4 purpose points that I've learned throughout my season that I just left, that helped me continue to push when, times got hard and I felt like quitting my job because the environment was just so stressful. The times where I wasn't seeing results in my business and I just felt like just throwing in the towel and just be like, you know what, maybe I should do something else. Or just when I felt like trying to do things myself and instead of allowing God to lead the way. These are things that have helped me get through it and also help me current time, because even though I'm in a new season and I'm where I want to be, there's still going to be challenges. There's still things that I've experienced in my past 2 to 3 weeks of just being a full-time entrepreneur. And I want to be transparent with you guys to allow you guys into just my journey, because I think a lot of times we see, the highlight reels of, people in business and, reaching their monetary financial goals or, going on trips and stuff like that. But we never see what they've been through to get to where they've been. So I want to share my story with you guys in hopes that it'll push you and motivate you, because whenever you're going through challenges, there's always something coming after that that's going to be bigger than you in a positive way. So there's always going to be breakthrough per se. So when you feel like things are being thrown at you left and right, it's not just because the world is against you or God is doesn't want to bless you or he doesn't want you to have the promise or that he lied, because everything that he says does not come back void. So know that your breakthrough is coming no matter how heavy the burdens may feel. It is on the way. So with my first purpose point is to be patient. Like, your girl is impatient as fuck. And one thing I had to learn was to be patient. I am a person that is so used to having my hands in all different pots and not focusing on one thing. And throughout my journey of my past season and just trying to balance my business and work, I really had to narrow things down, because I couldn't, I wanted to write a book. I wanted to do my business. I wanted to work on another business. And so because I couldn't focus on one thing, it was hard for me to balance those things. So God showed me that I need to be patient. This is one thing that you need to focus on right now. He was showing me, all right, I asked you to start a marketing business, but you also have a couple other things that you want to do. But right now, this is the focus. So I had to be patient. I had to understand that I have to focus on one thing, let it build, let it grow, and once it gets to a point where it's working on its own and it's generating income, then I can focus on the next thing. Because I think a lot of times God may give us so many ideas, so many downloads of what's going to happen in the future, and sometimes we feel like we need to act now, when a lot of times those things aren't for now. They might have a timestamp to start maybe years from now, or maybe it's not something that it may not even be for you. It could be a blessing for you to share with someone else. It could be an idea for you to pass along. So it's really important that when God does give you ideas and downloads, that you ask him, what is this for? When should I act on it? Or maybe be patient. Be patient and allow him to show you and tell you. But being patient doesn't even have to apply to, sticking to one business. It could be anything. When you're struggling, it's hard, you don't see how you can get through it, just be patient, wait on God, trust God in that moment. I know it's hard. I know you want to rush to the end. I know you want, your business to be thriving, or, you're ready to, maybe you want to quit your job. You're ready to leave your job right away, but where you are right now, who you are right now is not ready for that level up. So be patient while God molds you, while he build your strength, and you guys build your relationship, so that way when you do get to the other side, you're ready to go. Because God had been working on me, and when I finally quit that job, your girl was ready. I'm still struggling in a little bit of areas that God is pruning me in still, and showing me how to learn, whether it be through communication, through still working on my patience. Just know that it's a journey. It's an ebb and flowing journey. So when you do get to the other side, it's still going to be things that you have to work on. So just learn to fall in love with the process, which leads me to the next point of trust the process. You have to be in love with the process. I think when we see people's highlight reels, we think of the goals that we want for ourselves, and a lot of time we're thinking, okay, I want to set this goal, I'm going to automatically get there, or God told me he was going to do this, so I'm going to automatically get there. But in the process, you have to think, before you get to your next destination of your goal, there's going to be a process in the middle of that. No matter whether it's, you have to build connections, or trying to think of an example. So for me specifically, I'm working in a 9-to-5. My goal is to quit my job. It's not that easy to be like, all right, I want to quit my job tomorrow, so that's what we're going to do. No, I had to plan. I had to save my money. I had to make sure I had system in place for my business to start generating more income. I had to make sure that I had, the right content to start attracting the right customers and clientele. So it is a process. It's not just one and done type thing. I think in this microwave generation, people want things fast. They want it quick. They see these people who they think, quote unquote, blew up overnight, but they don't see the process that they've gone through. So trust the process that you're currently in. I know you want to get straight to the destination, straight to that goal, start making, all this money, or, let your book be published, but you have to really trust the process. The process is what's going to prune you and make you better, and build that character and build that momentum and that perseverance for when this end goal does happen. You're going to be able to say, you know what, God, thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for those long nights I stayed up, working so hard, or, those long nights I cried and I planted, my tears became seeds to grow those beautiful blossom flowers, I would not be where I am today. And I promise you, when you're at the end, you're like, wow, this happened because for where I am now. I struggled and went through that, because now for the next challenge that I have, or the next blessing that I have, I'm ready to thrive in it. And this is nothing. So like for me, in my 9-to-5, I worked in a leasing office, and the challenges that I dealt with often was that a lot of residents would be cussing me out. They would be, yelling at me for whatever reason. And I struggle with that, because I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm the type of person that's gonna pop off. I don't appreciate nobody talking to me like, just disrespect, and I don't tolerate that. And God had to really deal with me inwardly about it. Just like, hey, everybody doesn't deserve a reaction, try to see it differently. And God has shown me to see, like, a lot of people are hurt. And when a lot of people disrespect you or yell at you in any manner, I had to understand that a lot of time that is a reflection of their pain. And so allowing me to digest it in that manner allowed me not to react, but to respond in kindness. So that's just an example of how God has been using me. And so now in my current time of being a full-time entrepreneur, there's situations that I may have to deal with, or that I have done with, that I had to deal with, that have allowed me to be stronger and understand, putting myself in someone else's perspective, so I can respond in a way that's not reflecting of how they communicate with me, but it's in a way that's going to be kind. So I just want to tell you guys that these situations that you're in right now may seem ugly as crap, but I promise you, when you get to the other side, when that promise comes, it's going to make everything that you do a cakewalk. You can be like, I've seen this before. I can do this. I persevere in this previous season. So now that I'm here, the things that I went through before, or the things that may look similar to those challenges, you're going to go through that with a breeze. Which leads me to my next point of find the lesson. Every challenge that you go through, there's a lesson in it. I think a lot of times when we go through challenges, instead of thinking, God, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? What can I learn? It's like, oh my gosh, why has this happened to me? This is so crazy. Because believe me, that's something I'm working on. That was me. I'm just like, woe is me, God. Why are we doing this? I thought this was something that you wanted me to do. And I took the challenge as, maybe God's telling me this ain't what it's supposed to, it's not getting what it's supposed to give. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But I had to understand that, no, just because, God told me to do something don't mean it's going to be easy. doesn't mean that it's going to be, all sprinkles and rainbows. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's really not. So I had to learn to find the lesson in things. So recently I had a challenge when it comes to communication with working with one of my clients, and I had myself thinking, like, why is this happening? Like, God, I thought you wanted me to be a full-time entrepreneur. Like, there's communication issues. Like, am I even supposed to be doing this? And I had to check myself. I was like, you know what? No, Ash. God had placed this in your heart. This was his promise. Just because you're now a full-time entrepreneur doesn't mean everything is going to be perfect or everything is going to be, as you envision, because we all know that God's plan is not your plan. So I had to understand that. I understand, like, God isn't doing this to sabotage you. He's not doing it to, force you to quit. He's doing it so you can learn, so you can understand how to communicate better, how to engage better with people and build relationships. So remind yourself, when you go through these challenges, look at it as if, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? Maybe I have a flat tire, but what are you trying to show me right now? Maybe I didn't get the sales that I thought I would get, but what are you trying to show me? What's the lesson? How can I learn from this experience so I can move past this and be better for the next challenge, or be better for the next season that you're going to put me into? So last point is to become who you need to be for that next level. So when God does push you into that next season, these lessons help you build character, as I always say, help you become stronger, help you become that person that you need to be for the next level. Who you are right now can't be the same person that you are going to the next level. Who I was in my 9-to-5 and how I was balancing stuff and how I was handling money and my mindset and my relationship with money could not be who I am today to step into this space. I had no discipline. I had no time management. I was stressed out, didn't know how to manage my stress. I was going off on people at work. I could not be that same person that I am now. I had to learn how to communicate on a better level, not allowed to take things personal, understand sometimes that things are business. I had to also understand that money, how to manage my money better, how to understand that, God is my ultimate source of provider, that I don't have to stress myself out to figure out how I'm going to make the next dollar. So I had to use those lessons, use those challenges to find the lesson, because the result was me becoming the person that I needed to be to get to the season where I am now. Where you are right now may not feel comfortable, but get used to being uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. And the only way that you can move up is to grow, is to expand, is to allow God to stretch your faith, stretch yourself in a way that makes you uncomfortable. You cannot be who you are now. You cannot take the same habits, the same thoughts, maybe even the same people into this next season. If you're going to be walking in your purpose, if you're going to experience the promise that God has for you, if you want to live the life that you've been praying for and bring it into a reality, you cannot be who you are today. And that's not saying that you aren't enough, because you are enough, but there are things, flaws, and things that we have to drop off, thought processes that we need to drop off, people that need to fall off, so God can sharpen us and fine us and shine us like new gold, so that when we do step into this next season, we are shining, we are gleaming, we are glittering, and being who he has called us to be, to fully show up to the assignment, no matter what it is, big or small. Yes, mine was that I wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur, but for yours, maybe it's that you want to get up on time every morning and start spending time with God. Maybe it's you want to finally, hire a designer to do your website, or, finally just put pen to paper and start writing those books. That is what you need to be, a different person to start executing and walking in purpose. I cannot say that enough. And it makes me revert to the devotional that God has plans for you. He doesn't have plans to destroy you. He has plans to give you a better life, to give you hope. And that when you do speak, he does listen. You can find him at any time. It may not feel like it. Sometimes when, we talk to God, we may feel like it's quiet. Like he gets quiet. He's not saying nothing to us. And a lot of times that's him telling us to be patient, sit still. I'm going to work it out for you. I'm working on your behalf. Everything that you're going through is already done. And that took me a hard time to understand that where I am right now, I'm trying to think about where I was then, when I go through challenges, I try to think about how I can get myself out of it. But I have to understand that it's already done. God has already done it. The results are already there. They're already done. I just need to be patient and allow allow him to do his thing. Allow God to be God. That is my new quote of the freaking of my life right now, is allow God to be God. I cannot control everything. I cannot produce results down to the T. Everything doesn't need to be perfect, because y'all know I struggle with control. I have to take my hands off and allow God to be God. So I want you guys to understand that where you are is where you should be. I know it's hard to see other people out here doing their thing and you're thinking, why can't that be me? I know it's hard to, just think about, God, why aren't I there? But just understand that, be patient, trust the process, find the lesson so you can become who you need to be to get to the next level. I hope this blesses you guys. Anyone that needs to hear it, share it with them. We're all going through something. We all have these goals we want to achieve, but if we're not leaning on each other and motivating each other, how can we do that? Because I know somebody is, just waiting for something, and hopefully this is their sign to keep pushing, because your promise is on the way. I thank you guys so much for listening. Also, I have been active now on my YouTube channel. I'm going full throttle with it now since I have more time as an entrepreneur. So head over to YouTube, type in Ashley Goode. You guys can follow me on my channel for more content, more stories and stuff like that to continue the inspiration. Also, I'm going to put the link in the description. As always, to head over to the Destiny Definers group so we can continue the conversations. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next episode.